Welcome to the UpTiiCK podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Lambert, and get ready for another episode featuring great CEOs, public company leaders, marketing mavens, and entrepreneurs. That's what's up. Hello, UpTiiCK listeners. I'm joined today on the podcast by former D1 football standout turned tech and telecom leader, Brian Cox, CEO of Surgepays. That's SURG on the NASDAQ. More on his playing days later, but we're here today to talk about Brian's leadership of the fast-growing technology and telecommunications company Surgepay that it has a unique, and if I have to say, literally life-impacting focus on serving the underbanked, underserved, and communities across the country. Surge Phone Wireless provides mobile broadband to low-income consumers nationwide, and their blockchain and fintech platform utilizes a suite of financial and prepaid products to convert corner stores and bodegas into tech hubs for underbanked neighborhoods. Look forward to talking about bodegas. And Surgepay has also been on quite the surge, uplisting from the OTC to NASDAQ at the end of last year, named to Deloitte's Technology Fast 500 as the 50th fastest growing company in North America. They hit 50,000 mobile broadband subscribers in early part of 2022 and are forecasting north of 200,000 this year by year end. And that's well on your way already, Brian, and look forward to hearing about that. You've just added to the Russell Microcap Index, and a lot going on. You're definitely on a tear. Of course, introduced a shareholder loyalty program with Ticker. So exciting to see that. Also, the first company in the telecom space to do it. So, Brian, welcome to the show, and wow, pretty cool stuff.
Hey, I've never been introduced as the former football player, and you made me. Of course, I do a lot of interviews and talk to a lot of folks, and I just, while you were talking, I had an instant comparison of life is different, because you had these dreams of going to the NFL or doing this and that, and ACL blowouts and other things in life happen. And it just dawned on me, I take a whole lot less pain pills now than what I did when I played football. I miss the locker room, but I don't miss the pain, and I enjoy what we're doing. But I did take my same offensive lineman mentality into building the company. So that is one thing that competitive sports taught me. Sacrifice, teamwork, working together, and especially on the offensive line, doing whatever it takes to move that guy in front of you. Hey, y'all just run behind me and don't drop the ball.
That's right. Well, and so you went to a different MSU. I went to Michigan State. You went to Murray State, and I think that's our corollary doesn't end there. I was a swimmer. You're an offensive lineman. We both probably got about as much pub as one another. But there's so many different life lessons in leading a team. You still have to perform individually, but maybe talk about that application of how you've used that sports and competitive background, but also team play.
Yeah, sure. And uniquely, when I was a senior in high school, I played at Murray State. I didn't even know where Murray was. I was planning on going to University of Memphis, play football there. And then I met Coach Houston Nutt. It was his first coaching job, and he walked in and I met him. I was like, man, there's something different about that guy. I want to play for him. I don't know where that is, but I want to be on that guy's team. And that's the way that he built his team, and he built his assistant coaches and his infrastructure truly is the way that I run this company. He had assistant coaches that he trusted, like, let's say department heads, VPs, folks that ran. He didn't micromanage, but he came in and checked, patted us on the back. He was involved in drills. He was energetic, but kind of like the 1 minute manager style. Got in, get out. Let your adults be adults. Let your coaches coach. Let your managers manage. So I really feel like that's the way that that's always been what I've fallen back on in team building. You can't micromanage and scale a large company. When we got started, we all think we're an attorney, we're an accountant, we can do it all. We're trying to download documents off of Google and be our own legal contract builder. But you learn really quickly that that's not how you build a team. I always tell people the difference in a mom and pop company and, a company that, especially with us right now, you mentioned a couple of things. I mean, really, we're in hyper growth mode. which it really is all hands. You got to have both hands on the wheel to make sure you keep the car on the road because you're going so fast. You got to rely on your other guys. You got to rely on your sales guys, your compliance guys, your ops guys, your customer service guys. You can't be jumping into their sandboxes every day. So no, I love the team sports attitude. I love the structure that mimics a successful organization, whether it's like a Nick Saban type organization or a Houston Nutt organization. That really is what I've implemented here at Surgepays.
So tell our listeners what is Surgepays? What do you do? Where do you focus?
Yeah, you read the formal. You towed the line on the formal. You know how it is with all the IR and PR. I'm a blocks and shapes guy, man. So let me just tell it from this coming kind of straight from my brain. We really have two core revenue channels that ultimately tie in and service that underbanked, underserved customer in low income neighborhoods. The difference in our company and what you may see in more of a Silicon Valley type company is a lot of companies have a different mentality. They're not actually in the lower income neighborhoods. They're not at a grassroots level. They're influencers, maybe popular celebrities or what have you. Our influencers are that store owner that's that community store right at the end of their block that the consumer goes to 5 times a week. That's who we want to incentivize to push our products to customers. So a long time ago, and I've been in this business for 20 years of providing telecom and financial services to this underserved market, we figured out it's not TV ads. It's, of course, we didn't even have online back then. It's not radio. It's not newspaper. It's that guy at the end of the corner, the street, the bodega, the tienda, the corner store, the convenience store, as we call it. So we built a platform. It started off just in telecom and, the home dial tone back in the day. And then when wireless came along, we integrated the ability for consumers to go and activate prepaid wireless and make their payments, because it's something that a lot of people, so that's what's unique. A lot of people, by definition, most people, if not everyone who invests in a stock, they're banked. So they can't really see through the lens of an unbanked person that doesn't have a checking account, doesn't have a credit card. So you got to really kind of look at a different paradigm and say, hey, how would my day be different if the apps on my phone didn't do anything related to financial, because there's no credit card backing them.
Right.
If I went to the grocery store and I had the money that I padded in my pocket, how would my day be different? That's our customer base. So what we did is we've got two main revenue channels. One is a software platform that lets that clerk at the store activate prepaid wireless, take their payments every month. There's 100 million prepaid wireless customers out there. They're all paying cash somewhere. Now we've enabled that corner store to make money by taking the payment for those customers, and we've made it more convenient for customers to pay right down the street from where they live. We also, on the same platform, we can activate and reload debit cards. We can activate gift cards, several other, financial service convenience things that we can do for customers there. But the primary revenue driver on the platform is the prepaid wireless payments every month for folks that traditionally, remember back in the day when you'd have that 4 to 8 foot section in a gas station where it would have all those peg hooks,
right?
5, 10, 15, 20, 5, 10, 15, 20, track phone, boost, Metro, all that's digitized now. You don't have to turn it, buy it, turn it over, scratch it off, enter that 20-digit code to get your credit. It's all digitized. So that's one driver for us. But the really exciting and explosive catalyst for us has been mobile broadband. EBB kind of unearthed to the government and brought to light how many people in low-income neighborhoods don't have access to quality internet. When all the inner city kids weren't showing up for Zoom classrooms, it wasn't because the parents were irresponsible or didn't care. It's because they didn't have a way to.
Right.
They didn't have that. Maybe their mom had, on their prepaid phone internet, but but they're at work.
Yeah.
So there's an EBB program that was enacted to try to bridge that gap short term. And because we had a prepaid wireless company in 14 states, we were licensed in 14 states to provide this subsidized broadband. The program was such a success that at the end of last year in the infrastructure bill, they made it permanent. So once they made it permanent, we went all in. Once I knew that it was kind of side by side with Lifeline, which was a Reagan subsidy program, started in '85. We felt confident it was going to be around for, I don't want to say nothing's forever, but for a
Long time. Yeah.
It's a budget item and it's there. People don't peel budget items back off. So we went all in. We acquired another wireless company. It gave us all 50 states. We started at 0 mobile broadband customers, which really is a household. It's providing internet to a household through
Was that the Torch Wireless acquisition?
Torch Wireless acquisition gave us all 50 states. Our sales have gone bananas. As a matter of fact, the mechanism of how we grow is we buy tablet devices that can be used as a tablet interface to the internet or a hotspot, and we buy them. We put them in customers' hands. The next month, we get reimbursed for the tablets that we just placed, and we also get reimbursed $30 a month for the service. So we're growing we're redlining our growth every month. The demand is always more than the devices we've bought. And we're over 180,000 households now. So, we gave guidance at 200,000 for the year. So we'll be giving a little bit of an upward guidance on that here probably in the next couple of weeks as we cross that 200,000 threshold. But yeah, it's so we've got, just in summary, we've got the platform that works at the stores, enabling those clerks and store owners to service the underbanked. And now we're going directly to the underbanked, providing them internet. So we really do feel like we're coming in and encapsulating this market and really giving us the opportunity to not just keep rolling like we're going now in this hyper growth mode, but also to add other products, because we're at the store and we're in the couch in the home now. So right. The way I look at it, I always tell our team, we're building a digital railroad into these underbanked neighborhoods that does not exist. There is no thumbprint. There is no Nielsen. It's usually a transient, really difficult to dial in the digital thumbprint market, but we're doing it.
Well, you got a B2B model that you can increase density. So you've already increased your states, and now I assume that it's density. So let's get more C-stores. Let's get more of the local shops. But then you're also B2C, right? And right in those people's homes. And from an investor perspective, so you're a public company. These consumers aren't investors today, but they certainly could be. But there's a big craze now around ESG investing. But you don't have an ESG program. You are an ESG.
Yeah, I tell people all the time. They ask, what else would you do if you do something else? Like, man, I don't know how we could grow a company and make money as fast while simultaneously helping people. I said, how unique is it? The more people we help, the more small business owners we help, the more money we make as a company, the more growth we see as a company, our sales go up. I said, so man, that's almost the energy synergy it's almost a drug, because every ounce of sweat that you put into your day, you're going to see a result of people better off, and you're going to see a result of your company better off. I said it's a blessing and a curse, because that's why we all work probably more hours than we should. But right. I think the results are starting to show in our financials as well.
Well, it sounds like as also you become the pipeline into the home, and so again pushing additional content or rewards. I think we're probably going to have to preload the TiiCK app on all those devices. But so talk to me about that shareholder loyalty. So you kind of step back from what your business does to, as a stock, you've also performed well. Again, you're hitting your number. You're beating your year-end guidance, halfway through the year nearly. And so talk to me about why shareholder loyalty and connecting with that individual investor.
No, and by the way, let me sidebar for a second and say, I have been trying to figure out how to reward shareholders for years. I asked our attorneys years ago, I'm like, man, we own a wireless company. I could send a SIM card out to shareholders that hold over X and give them free service as long as they held the stock. Well, you got to have the mechanisms in place. And so when I came across TiiCK, I'm like, oh my gosh, we have some really cool products. We've got Amazon gift cards. We've got, things that we do here. I was like, but we have wireless products. Man, this is perfect. Finally, somebody that can bridge that gap for me. So I will say Ticker's awesome from that perspective.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, no, it was absolutely what I was looking for, because that was always my thing. The attorneys asked, well, how could you tell if they didn't sell your stock or if they just did it? And I was like, I don't know. So you guys really, your product is really, really, it's a cool product. I mean, it's a cool product. You guys are cool vendors, and your team is awesome, by the way. Some of my favorite people to talk with are your team members.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. So sidebar there. But with that said, the shareholder loyalty is absolutely important, because there's times, look, your stock breathes. There's times where you get hit by the algorithm train and, you didn't realize you were standing in the track. It happened to us recently. And, when you look, you have your core shareholder base who believe in the company. They believe in me. They're huge. They're wearing the Surgepays jersey, but the guy that's buying the 500 shares, the guy that's buying the 1,000 shares, those are the ones that really help move you up as time goes by. So to be able to differentiate our company among the other 5,000 ex-public companies and say, hey, not only do we believe in our company, we believe in our shareholders, and we understand and appreciate your role in helping us accomplish our goals, which is one reason why, me personally, I've been a reflection on our team, making myself available to large shareholders, to for podcasts and things like that, getting our company out there. It's not just keep our head down and think hey, we made it to NASDAQ, we're supposedly great. No, man, getting to NASDAQ, it was just the start of it for us. So, avenues where we can communicate our product to shareholders as well, because again, you're most likely not using prepaid wireless if you buy stocks. You probably have your iPhone or Galaxy, and you've got an AT&T, T-Mobile, or Verizon contract, and you just pay them, and you don't even pay attention because it's on your credit card. Well, when that clicks in your head, like, wait a minute, this is the exact same service, the exact same towers, the exact same SIM card. These guys just have software platforms that manage the billing and metering and allow customers to pay up front to get the exact same service I have. So I think that's been one of the connections we've been able to make with shareholders, is of what we do. We take products that a doctor, an attorney, an entrepreneur, business owner use every day, and we found ways to give those same types of products to people that don't have credit or don't have access to banking. And I think that's a good connection we've been able to make through the Ticker product as well. Once people realize, hey, I may not change my phone service, but I can throw it in my son or daughter's cell phone, and now as long as I'm holding the Surgepays stock, they got free service. So I think that's a really cool application there. And yeah, I completely appreciate the. I mean, look, if I associate shareholders, what I've always told my IR guys, I'm in the Southeast. Of course, you went to Michigan State, football fanatics everywhere.
Sure.
When your team is having a rough go at it, that's when you support your team the most. I was like, hey, I want people to be Surgepays team members. I want them not just to get their jersey out of the closet when we win, but to wear it year round and help out on the dips and help out, when the stock breathes and things happen. I don't want it just to be SURG. It's just, I said, I want them to have a relationship with us, to know us, to really understand that we're not just, a ticker symbol. We're a company that help people that are working our tails off with the soul. And all of us officers, the largest shareholders of the company are all officers of the company. We're all on the same team because we're shareholders too. And every decision we make as a company, which, to your point, yes, we got to NASDAQ, what was it, 10 months ago? We haven't raised a penny we haven't sold a share of stock to raise any money, even though we've got stacks of term sheets everywhere, especially since we've performed and been one of the better performing NASDAQ stocks. I'm not doing it because I've got the shareholder hat on as well.
Right.
So I think that's something as many opportunities as we get to connect with folks and let them know, hey, this is kind of one of the, you go in some of these like grocery stores, employee owned. That's really kind of how I want people to associate with us. Like, hey, we connect. We have the same like-minded. We're not hired assassins that are just going to come in and raise capital just to try to hit a number. No, we're trying to grow our market cap the right way.
Well, and you talked earlier too about this retail investor. Every one of them is a consumer, and they relate to what you do. And I think this is my editorializing. And I'm going to talk to my team after this and say, you know what? There's a perk there's a reward for Surgepays investor of a buy one, give one. Like take a perk and also give a perk. Getting your services in the hands of the underrepresented, the underbanked, that's a huge value. And, in the current environment of value-based investing and ESG and everything in our world today, you are not just generating revenue, not just a publicly traded company, not just performing on the market, but you're also performing in the community. And so I think every one of your investors could feel good about owning you. And like you said, the idea is to maintain that over time. And retail investors are more loyal. They support management. They hold longer term. All the positive profiles we could never before this actually prove if they were in or out. And so, yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Well, we can all debate climate change and other aspects of society, and I'm definitely not a scientist, but what we can't debate is lower income children, I don't care what color they are, not having the same opportunities or not having access when internet is and those devices are now the source of healthcare, which is completely not in the low income third of our country, which is one of the things we're going to be working on next. But you've got healthcare, education, and employment are all channeled through your access to internet now, your connectivity. Well, the human impact, I do understand humans, and I've traveled to a lot of third world countries, and unless we want to all start driving in bulletproof SUVs, there's no way we can allow that digital divide to continue, because these next generations, if they're not getting access to the same healthcare, they're not getting access to the same education, you're a fool if you think that's not going to affect even the wealthiest of the wealthy. It will. It'll bring everything down, and that is, and I think that's the difference in us in America and some third world countries, is that giant divide. So, again, the ESG and, like I said, a lot of things could be debated, but what can't be debated are people and people having access, and then what the impact that is on all of society. So yeah, we love what we do. I mean, we really do. I mean, it's awesome to have a product that, number one, is reoccurring revenue. So what you did yesterday, you're going to see the results for tomorrow. And then simultaneously, the demand outpaces your ability to fulfill orders every month. So to know that you're not creating demand, the demand is there, which by definition, the old Warren Buffett thing of like, hey, we have products and services people want and they need. They're essential. So, when you have essential products that people want, it's not green beans and broccoli. They need it. But it's it's actually things they want, and it helps.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one of our driving forces, and why we don't sleep a lot. And again, we run on
coffee, right? Yeah.
Well, our operations center is in El Salvador, and when people come up here, we have them bring an entire suitcase of that fresh coffee that's different than what you can buy on the shelf. So yeah, that's what this is. It's it's a fuel. We're fueled.
I love it. Well, so talk to me about what you're you're obviously excited about what you're doing, but what's kind of on the cusp? I mean, as a pipeline for all these services, as you said, it's about access and equity, really, in things you talk about, healthcare and financial services and all these different categories. But as you look out, I mean, is it a function of just how fast can you go? It's not a function of demand. And what are you most excited about?
Yeah, it really is. It's now I will say this. Not just going out there and cashing in one of these term sheets for 30 million bucks. That would make my life so much easier. I call it red line growth planning. We know right now to the nth degree how many devices and commissions and sales we can do without imploding or, needing to go grab capital. And that's what we do. So there's a ton of strategy. Our CFO, Tony, does a great job helping manage the cash flows and growth, because I gave them the mandate. We are not selling stock to grow and let our eyes get too big with growth numbers when the goal is growing the market cap and earnings per share. Let's not get enamored by, some people that try to drive us for subscribers. Subscribers at the end, it's not about subscribers, it's about making money and growing the company and keeping it tight. So that's really the mandate that I've put down for the guys to grow. But now, when you see the opportunities, it's not just the fact that the demand for your core product outpaces your supply. It's now that you have the opportunity to reach out. And for example, let's just use 150 as a round number. That's 150,000 households. We did a survey that we've implemented at the beginning of our activation process for these households. We know that every one of those households has 3 to 5 prepaid devices. So 3 to 5 track phone, Metro PCS, Boost, Cricket, whatever it may be. Well, if we're already in your household and we have all your information, by the way, we know you, we have a relationship, we're giving you internet. I mean, you're getting it for free. We have such a unique competitive advantage to come in and offer you that family plan where we can cut your existing costs by 20, maybe 30%. Because guess what? We're also the only wireless company that has a software platform down at the convenience store where you're going to go pay your bill. So we don't have to pay a third party to do that fintech transaction. That's us. And here's the last part that really tied everything together in the whole ecosystem, that circle of life. We just bought the CRM, the customer relationship management software. We paid cash for it, 2 months ago? And so now the software that manages our customers, manages the integration to the carriers, it manages the plans, it manages the integration into the convenience store payments. We own that now. So now we've really started looking at some awesome things to be able to make a reality of, well, now let's go find a provider of telehealth so folks can FaceTime their doctor. Let's put some packages together where now instead of just talk, text, and data, if you wanted telehealth, there's apps out there now. You got to go pay 70, 80, $100 a month, but you got to put a credit card down. If you don't have a credit card, you cannot do telehealth.
You already have the payment system, right?
We have the payment system and we just include it in your plan. Now it's talk, text, data, and FaceTime your doctor. That doesn't exist right now. And what's really awesome about that, and that's the kind of things that excite me. I've always been able to impact folks within this underbanked market. Nobody ever really knew who we were outside. It's always been in this market. We've been great at it in our market. We've been, market leaders. But, if you go to the emergency room right now, it's overflowing, not because of emergencies, but because of basic health care from folks that don't have insurance or folks that don't have access to a doctor. Well, if they could FaceTime the doctor and just, hey, my baby's got 103 temperature, what do I do? Hey, we got this. Hey, I got that. Or, hey, I need my prescription refilled, instead of using the emergency room for your general health care. We actually could have an impact on all of society, kind of going back to what we were talking about, not just bridging the gap and keeping that education, healthcare, and employment, keeping people on the internet, but now we could actually maybe start alleviating some of the pressure by allowing basic healthcare to flow through the device and being the enabler to the market. So that's the way we're looking at this. And I always tell shareholders when, that they ask, don't look at it. We're not Netflix. We're not just trying to add subscribers and mobile broadband. We're actually entrenching ourselves and building out wide to looking at other verticals that don't distract us, but that add in to this, that we're entrenched now in this market. What else can we do to spread our tentacles and offer other essential products that people will pay us for?
No, it's exciting. And really this, this pipeline that you now have into that consumer's household, into their neighborhood store, that is exciting. And it's exciting to think to investors, obviously, based off their response. But I love that you're taking a methodical approach. I love that you're back in your hometown where you grew up in Bartlett, Tennessee. I think it's really, it's a great story that's also doing good. And you just don't find enough of those these days. And I really appreciate hearing about it. I'm a shareholder. I look forward to growing my position and growing alongside you. Really appreciate you joining the podcast today and telling our listeners about your story, both you as an individual and also the story of Surgepays. That's Surgepays, SURG on the NASDAQ. Brian Cox, CEO and ex-Murray State racer.
Hey, you know what? People used to ask where that was until Ja Morant came along. So thanks, Ja.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. Well, thanks, Brian. I really appreciate spending time with you. Congrats on the success. I know you're going to hit your goals. Stay focused and hit that El Salvador coffee today.
Hey, thank you, sir. Hey, I really enjoyed this. You have a great day.
Hey, thank you. We'll see you later.